Hello there and welcome back to my channel. Today I have such an exciting video because not only is this the biggest book haul I've ever done, but also this has some of my most favorite authors and most excited reads that I've had. Third, a lot of these books I actually got thrifting, and I kind of want to show book hauls where people can actually go and find really good newer books from the thrift store without necessarily having to go pay full price at like a Barnes & Noble's or a Target. Literally, I have so much to talk about, so let's just get started. Also, some of these books are so popular at the moment that I am not going to give a full synopsis of what is happening because they're made into TV shows, they are really popular, they've been out for a while, and I just don't want to reiterate what everyone else has already said. Alright, so the first author that I'm going to start with is Abby Jimenez. I have bought 3 Abby Jimenez books since my last book haul. I bought Yours Truly by her because I found it at the used bookstore, and I figured what a better way to read a new author that I really want to get into. After I read that book, I fell in love with her writing. I just needed to read more, and so I did do that. So I have Just for the Summer, Part of Your World, and the Happy Ever After playlist. So these 2 books are kind of in the same world as Yours Truly, and then this is part of a separate kind of world landscape that she has, but you can read these books as a standalone. In fact, I read Yours Truly before I read Part of Your World, and technically Part of Your World is the first one in that whole world. I bought these full price because after I read Yours Truly, I just loved her writing. I loved how she writes characters and how she portrays romances. I just feel like that is the whole purpose of a used bookstore. Is you go to a used bookstore, everything's a little bit cheaper, and you're able to try out authors without being so scared of whether you're gonna like it or not. And now look, I'm able to go buy all of her books because I enjoyed it so much. Okay, I'm gonna stop babbling on about Abby Jimenez. The next author that I got some books from is Taylor Jenkins Reid. I have Malibu Rising, Carrie Soto is back. I got both of these books at Goodwill. I just happened to find them. They were $3.30 and they're hardcover. I truly never thought that I would find books this popular and this newer at the Goodwill, but I did. If you like books but you don't like paying $20 for a book, go ahead and try the used bookstores and Goodwill, because this is insane. I just want to thank the Seattle Public Library for no longer needing this as their property and donate it to somewhere, because it cost $28 and now I got it in my bookshelf for $3. I totally forgot to tell you what any of those books are. The Abby Jimenez books are romance books, clearly. I'm not even gonna go into them because everybody has talked about them, so all of them. Not even gonna go into them. Carrie Soto's Back is about a tennis player. She essentially goes into retirement and after a while kind of wants to go back into the sport, and that is all I know. And then Malibu Rising, I know it is about a family and we follow the siblings, and there's this one night where there's a party and essentially everything bad happens, and we kind of see the progression and kind of growth of all the siblings from this one party, and it's kind of going back and forth in the timeline. So the next books that I have is the first 2 books of the Red Queen series. So I ended up finding this one at Goodwill, and this is the second one to Red Queen. So we have Red Queen and then Glass Sword, and I ended up finding this one for $2. So because I found this one and I knew this was a series that I wanted, I went ahead and I bought Red Queen so I could go ahead and start the series. I've already actually started Red Queen and I'm almost done with it, so I'll be moving on to this one. But what this is about is essentially you have the reds and the silvers, and the reds are people with red blood, and then silvers are people with silver blood. And the silvers have these supernatural powers, and they essentially rule the world, and well, not the world, but they rule that land, and they are the kings, and it's a monarchy because they essentially have the power to put the reds in line. This is, I believe, fantasy dystopian, I want to say. I'm not too sure on the category, but we follow this main character who is a red, and she happens to actually end up having a power, and her blood is red. So it's a very interesting journey on the power dynamics and government, and that whole fantasy, not realistic type of world. So the next book I picked up is Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. So this is the newer cover, and to be honest, I don't know anything about this book other than because of this cover, it has been in like every single Pinterest picture. I made a video where I talked about popular talk books that I did not end up liking, and I talked about The Honeymooners by Christina Lauren, but I've actually decided that I'm gonna make a video where I give some authors that I didn't really enjoy their books a second chance by reading another one. And when I saw this book at the used bookstore, I figured, I kind of thought it was fate telling me I should give Christina Lauren another shot. And plus this cover is beautiful. So I will be doing that video some point in the future. I'm not sure when, but I guess this is a little bit of a spoiler or a little bit of a teaser. I will be doing Christina Lauren as one of the authors that I'm gonna be giving a second chance to. All right, so the next book that I got at the used bookstore is The Fine Print. Again, used bookstore. Actually, a bunch of these books I got at Goodwill or the used bookstores, so highly recommend. But The Fine Print is essentially another romance book. Our main characters are Rowan and Zara. I believe that's how you pronounce her name. It's essentially like Disneyland, and the grandfather who created and owns the park, the Dreamland, ends up passing away. Before the three brothers can inherit the land, they have to accomplish this mission that he sets out for them, or this goal. And this story is following one of the brothers. Our main character works at the park, and we kind of see their, progression and romance and them trying to accomplish the goal that this brother has been given. The next book is The Kiss Cushion by Ellen Wan. I think I'm pronouncing that right or wrong, I'm sorry. But this is about Stella and Michael, and she has Asperger's. She is able to practice kissing with Michael, and that is what the back of the book says about this love story. This book I found at Goodwill for, again, $2, which is crazy because I feel like I've seen a lot of this book. This next book I also found at Goodwill, and that is The Summer I Turned Pretty. I also have wanted to read this series. I haven't watched the show because I want to read the books first, and again, I saw it at Goodwill and I thought it was literally fate talking to me, so I picked it up. And look at how good of quality this book is. Like, it looks brand new. It looks like I got it from Barnes and Nobles. But I'm not gonna explain what the premise of this book is. Literally, it's everywhere. You know about that. And then I have One of Us is Lying, which again, also from Goodwill. Literally, this is like a Goodwill haul. I didn't mean for that to happen, but my boyfriend and I, we like to go on the weekends just to see if there's anything that's worth buying, and we'll really only pick up a book if it's something that's kind of already been on our TBR. I don't know what this book is about, if I'm being completely honest, but I have read the first book of A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and a lot of people kind of link both of these even though they're not by the same author. And when I saw it, and for $2, I decided to pick it up because I did enjoy A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, even though they have nothing to do with each other. I was interested to see what this one was about. And then I have The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. Another teaser about this book is I'm gonna end up doing a video on the booktuber Steph, her 5-star reads, and this book is on one of her 5-star reads. And I was at the used bookstore, like always, I know, and I saw it and I decided to pick it up for that video. Clearly I have a lot of ideas on videos. I promise I'm gonna do all of them with time, but some of these books I'm getting in anticipation of. The next book I picked up at Goodwill is Mad Honey by Jodi Picoult and Jennifer Finley Bowen. This is essentially a thriller, and I saw that when Sarah, Destiny, and Haley all did like a little collab like reading challenge, this is one of the books that they read, and even though they didn't enjoy it, I still decided to pick it up because, again, like $3, and it's a hardcover. And I do enjoy thrillers, and I wanted to see what this one was about. So the next 3 books are a little bit different because they are not fiction books, non-fiction, duh. The first one is You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. I feel like a couple years back, everyone had this book, everyone was reading it, everyone wanted to read this book. So it's been on my TBR for like years now. I saw it at Goodwill and I ended up getting it. This is just a self-help book. Next, I got What the Dog Saw by Malcolm Gladwell. This was also a Goodwill find. So the reason I picked this book up is because I have read Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. I read this in high school and it literally changed my life. I haven't read it since, but I remember it just having such a big impact on me. And this is the book where like Phineas, like Billie Eilish, Phineas, her brother, he talks a lot about this book, and he's talked about the 10,000 hours. This is the one that talks about how if you put in 10,000 hours of something, you will be successful at it no matter what. This is the same author of What the Dog Saw, and I love this book so much. I ended up buying this one and seeing what this one is about. I have no idea what this is about. I truly just picked it up because of the author. And then the last book I have is Counting On by Jill Duggar. I obviously watched 19 Kids and Counting, 20, 20, whatever, 21, whatever number it ended up being. I watched 19 Kids and Counting growing up, and some of the siblings have come up with a book about their experiences filming the TV show. This book was originally $28. It's a hardcover, and I got it for $3 at Goodwill. And we have officially come to the end of the video. Those are all the books I've gotten over the last couple of weeks, and I wanted to show them to you all. If this video has shown you anything, is that you can find amazing books at the thrift store or Goodwill. I highly recommend anyone who is into reading and wants to read to go look at them. You obviously won't find all of these at once, but you kind of have to, it's thrifting. You have to go constantly so you can pick out the gems when you see them. It doesn't have to be super expensive to read and to own books if you end up wanting to buy them and keep them in a library like so many people do. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for supporting my channel. Feel free to stick around and watch other videos.